All right, guys, the two of you in The Maze Runner, tell me about this experience, because you are Aml, who's been there from day one, pretty much.
Yeah, I play Albie, and he's there from day one. He was the first person to come up through the box. He spent 30 days by himself, went through the insanity of it all, the insanity of not knowing who he is, didn't have anyone else to comfort him or to lead him on. And I think just as he was about to probably take his own life, the box started to move again, and up came another person, and then up came another person eventually, and then he decided to build this society, you know, and the code is, if we are together, if we're strong, you know, nothing comes before the group. And so he builds this society along with Newt and Gally and Minho, and you know, it's 3-4 years on, and there's this world that they live in, and everything is finally kind of set in stone, and that's how he wants to keep it.
That's why I liked really your part, because you were not the first guy to be killed, but actually even the leader of the pack, which actually tells me that the comparison to Lord of the Flies doesn't really suit that comparison, because you guys are very disciplined within this glade.
We're a little bit older than them as well, aren't we? Like they were kids. We're kind of like late teens into 20s, yeah.
And what do you think is that your character Newt becomes his lieutenant in ways? Because like physically you're not just like Gally. Gally's like this bully guy, which you would expect it to be like the muscle of him. But in that case, what is it that defines Newt that he definitely had to become like the lieutenant within this society?
Other than the fact that he came up before Gally in the box, which puts you in your rank, I'd say the Gladers find out what each other are very good at and assign you a job or a rank according to that. And I think the combination, I think they're quite intelligent. I think Albie knows that the combination of all of our intellects together make an interesting viewpoint for everyone to kind of have a reference of. I think Newt has he's very carefree, but I think he's careful and understanding of the situation that he's in, and looks at it seriously, but keeps a humour, keeps a lightness, because he knows that morale is incredibly important within the group, and if you start losing the morale, you start losing the people, and people will start turning against each other.
Also very thoughtful when it comes to decisions. But the two of you, you're very respectful actors, and this is, please get me right. The beginning when I heard this is the movie by the same producer as Twilight, I was kind of, really? But then I was very surprised how dark this entire thing was. But that's something that I saw as a viewer now after this entire thing is done. But how was it for you guys, just like when they approach with this kind of project towards you? Did you already feel that this movie is going to turn out the way it is now to be seen on the big screen?
I think earlier on you could see Wes's vision. You know, he was very good at like impregnating us with his vision, showing, you know, he's visually brilliant, so he'd show us exactly how he thinks the thing's going to be. So I understood the scope of what it could be. I think he especially exceeded those expectations of him. And then you know, with the actors and the performances, you're bringing all these people from around the world, and all these really grounded people. You know, these not superstars. We're actors, and so the film is grounded in real, organic, authentic performances, I think. And I think all of those things brings it together. And you know, with a comparison to like something like Twilight, something like that, with Wick, it's just a totally different beast. You know, this is an adventure story with like young men trying to survive in this environment, which, you know, Twilight had the romantic, vampire biting element to it, which is very different to us.
All right, then thank you very much, guys, and looking forward to see you again.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
You know, I think that would be a waste of time just talking about the experience of your first major feature.
It's been fun.
Yeah, I bet, because also like I read a lot about it, and I understand there's been kind of a pressure. What I realized after that, I talked to the cast, which I found like altogether quite brilliant, I must say. And also with the movie, I didn't, of course, in the first take, didn't know what to think of it.
Sure.
Like producer of Twilight, you would say, oh, that's a chick movie, a bunch of guys. You just wait for that particular moment where you can make a premature comment to, oh, just a bunch of guys. I got it. Huh?
Right.
But you did a great job, just in terms of making it dark and still being apparently, I would say, apparently appealing to like a younger audience. Or
yeah, I hope so.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, I think that's the goal, man. We try to make a fun adventure. you know, that you could go on this experience with this main character Thomas and not pander to kids, you know, we don't have any kind of love triangle, you know, we don't have you know, it's a kind of, you know, sappy kind of romance thing in this thing. It's just a fun adventure with this group of characters that come together and have to kind of overcome this crazy obstacle that's in their way. And hopefully it's something we'll get to keep exploring in the future, you know, versions out here, where we can just continue to kind of expand on the stories and the ideas and the characters, you know. So it's fun. Yeah.
But also when it comes to the description of that movie, I mean, we have to tell people this has nothing to do with Labyrinth, with David Bowie.
Yeah, that's right.
No, with any former video game. But I'm not so happy with the description of Lord of the Flies meets Lost. Lost maybe okay. A bit. But I also like when it comes to the visuals, especially towards the end. I don't want to spoil too much. Sure. But it kind of reminded me all of a sudden of Resident Evil.
Okay, sure.
For some reason.
It's definitely out of the frying pan into the fire. You know, is that kind of concept. You know what I mean? It's you're right. I mean, Lord of the Flies is probably a little different in the sense that Lord of the Flies kind of shows the darker side of humanity, whereas I think ours shows a little bit more of the brotherhood side. It's about characters coming together, but it is very much kind of about survival. I almost saw it as a shipwreck movie, you know what I mean? These characters are just thrown into this place and have to kind of use the resources around them to survive. That's just a cool concept, you know what I mean? And then, yeah, the ending, and without giving anything away, it very much throws into they've got more adventure ahead of them. You know what I mean? But now, fortunately, they have each other. So that's very much kind of a concept that we're going to be exploring in the future movies. Is that sort of now what? You know what I mean?
Exploring in the future movies, we all together, or also you as a director? Is that already an option?
That's right. Yeah, basically, we're making the movie in 10 weeks.
With the same, almost with the same cast?
Almost the same cast, except for the ones that didn't make it. Spoilers. Yeah, we've got stages, you know, set up. We've got crew coming in, and you know, sets are being built, and scripts almost there, and we're going to be making a much bigger movie that picks up right where the last one left off, and just continues on, and just explores more in depth the emotion, the characters, the mythology, everything. It's a much bigger movie in terms of scope too, which is gonna be a lot of fun.
Well,
actually.
Looking forward for this one as well. But also, what I found very interesting is that genuinely that your cast was really enchanted pretty much by whatever you had to tell them. Also, when it comes to defining the vision of that movie.
Sure.
Have there been like some special techniques that you learned somehow from a voodoo just to tell the cast some Jedi mind trick, or what's your secret?
Question. I don't know, man. I mean, it's just, for me, it's just a collaborative thing. It's just communication, sitting there talking about things. And I definitely kind of picture scenes very clearly when I have them. When I know they're right, I see them very, very clearly. I see them shot for shot. So I can sit there and walk them through every single take. But, you know, I get really excited and I start bouncing around the room and I start waving my hands around and I have lots of artwork to show. Yeah, it's just about communication and kind of explaining things to them, I guess. But, you know, it's for me, it's a big collaborative thing. It's like we're all in this kind of coming up together and coming up with our own ideas. And my job is just kind of take all this stuff from everyone around me, all the support, and just kind of channel it into a singular kind of, you know, path. You know what I mean? I don't know. I still don't know what I'm doing. So, you know, I'm still figuring it out. I'll let you know next time.
So finally, when it comes to the sequel, do you think that that you're just going to fulfill a vision that you already had the whole time? Or do you feel that after this experience, that some things that you might have left out need to come into this?
Most definitely. Yeah. I mean, that was obviously as we were making it, we knew that my job was to make a franchise. You know, that was it. My goal as a filmmaker is to make a good movie. And so it's really the balance of those two things. So I knew the ending was going to be a little bit challenging, but hopefully we gave you enough kind of emotional closure while still kind of throwing into the next movie and giving us a launching off point for the next movie to just take off, essentially, and just start going into the characters that we love. It's gonna be exciting, I think. You know, I really hope it comes to pass.
No, but definitely, I think you started launching a lot of careers because the cast.
The cast is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it really rides on their shoulders. I mean, whoever it was that said that casting is 90% of the director's job. That's it, man. It's like I could just focus because I had those guys. They were so good. You know, I'm truly blessed to have someone like that group. You know.
Well then, thank you, Wes, for your time. And
thanks, man.
Hopefully see you next time.
Pleasure. All right, take care.
Bye.
Kannst du mir irgendwas über dich erzählen? Wer du bist, woher du kommst? Weißt du deinen Namen? Ich kann mich an gar nichts erinnern.
Tag 1 Frischling. Raus aus den Federn. Was ist das hier?
Willkommen auf der Lichtung.
Wer hat uns hergebracht?
Wissen wir nicht.
Was ist da draußen? Ihr könnt mich nicht einfach hier festhalten.
Ich kann dich nicht gehen lassen.
Warum sagt keiner, was da draußen ist?
Das Labyrinth. Jeden Morgen, wenn sich diese Tore öffnen, suchen die Läufer einen Weg nach draußen. Niemand hat bisher eine Nacht im Labyrinth überlebt.
Was passiert mit ihm?
Wir nennen sie Griever.
Wir gehören nicht hierher. Irgendjemand hat das Labyrinth gebaut. Es wird Zeit rauszufinden, womit wir es hier zu tun haben.
Du bist nicht wie die anderen. Du bist neugierig.
Was ist das denn? Das ist der erste echte Hinweis. Wer weiß, wohin uns das führt?
Ein Mädchen.
Thomas!
Alles hier hat sich verändert, seit du aufgetaucht bist.
Was, wenn wir aus einem bestimmten Grund hier sind?
Die Tore schließen sich nicht. Sie sind hier.
Die kommen so lange wieder, bis sie uns alle getötet haben.
Lasst uns abhauen, auch wenn wir dabei sterben.
Du checkst es einfach nicht. Wir sind längst tot. Bist du dir sicher?
Nein.
Wir kommen hier nicht raus. Sie lassen uns nicht.